Welcome into Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jarrell Hendricks. We've got a great interview today, a very special guest, the new head coach of the Travelers Rest Devildogs, Chris Goodman. Coach, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, check us out on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Goodman was hired in May. He was the head coach at St. Joseph's for the past 3 seasons, going 30-9. He had been on staff for a total of 4 years. Prior, he was the head coach at Chandler Preparatory Academy in the Phoenix area. Coach, let's start there. What's that transition been like? Obviously, you know, you're still in the Greenville County area, just kind of going to the other side of town now, but what's it like kind of been getting settled in there at TR?
It's been kind of unique. It's a different drive. I'm over here in Greer, and but it's a beautiful drive. I'm avoiding 85 now, so I had to get used to that. My wife's actually an educator too, and she'll be teaching 5th grade up there. So it's a family move. So we'll both be heading up there and taking the little ones with us. So we're transitioning. It's nice to have the summer to get comfortable, you know, but it still was a late hire. So we didn't really get the spring. So we are kind of, you know, pushing it too.
Coach, let's jump into your background a little bit. Let's talk about your coaching career, playing career, and you know, how you got to this point to be the head coach of the Devilddogs.
Well, I'm originally from Lexington, and so I had the pleasure of being able to play for a legend, Jimmy Satterfield. Just got in the Hall of Fame. Went to state championship, and I think losing that game against Dorman, you know, you never really reached the pinnacle. So I think that always stays with you, if that makes any sense. But I went to South Carolina. I thought I was just going to go to school, and I was going to try to play football, and thought anybody could play football then. I was coming to South Carolina's 0-11 season. So, you know, everybody was trying out. But not long after September 11th took place, and I dropped out and went into the Marines. And so that put me on course with where I'm at now with Travelers Rest, no doubt. And so after the Marines, went back to school at USC, wanted to get my degree. And a good buddy of mine, John Wheeler, was coaching, and I wanted to get into it. And he had a friend, an assistant at Cardinal Newman. And I went over there and was able to be an assistant there for a year, and got my feet wet. And so not long after that, I graduated in 2008. And if y'all remember, I know y'all are a little bit younger, but we kind of had that recession time frame, and it hit South Carolina kind of hard. And I just graduated, and I was looking for a job here when I should have been looking for a job here, you know. And my uncle moved to Phoenix, Arizona with a steel company, building a steel mill out there. And just at the last minute, literally the night before he left, I decided to go with him, and drove across the country and restarted in Phoenix, and coached out there while I was working at the steel mill. Was just an assistant. Met my wife. She was from Oregon. Moved up to Oregon for 3 years and kept coaching. That's where I say I got my master's degree from a gentleman named Tim Dotson, legend up in Oregon. And I stayed up there for 3 years, and then when I left and came back to Arizona is where Chandler Prep happened, and became the head coach. And so got there for about 5 years, and it was really good. Had no really plans of leaving, but like most people, 2020 probably had an impact on them with COVID, and just probably had a little bit too much time on my hands, and then a little nervous about being a big city. You know, Phoenix has a larger population than the whole state of South Carolina. And was from South Carolina. I already had 3 boys, and was thinking maybe I should get back east. And John Wheeler was at St. Joe's, and our friendship at that point had been, you know, since high school. And he helped me get over here to teach and to be an assistant with them. And then the next thing you know, Kimmery's at South Carolina, and you know, and then, you know, you got Beamer there, and then he goes from there to Hammond to replace Kimmery. And I was fortunate enough to take over at St. Joe's, which has now allowed me this opportunity, especially as a Devildog, be Travelers Rest head coach.
Coach, you mentioned, kind of getting hired, pretty late in the cycle really there in May. So with that being said, how is the staff shaping up? Do you have all your spots filled now? Anybody you're trying to look to still hire? Are you able to keep a lot of guys from the old staff, or how is that working out for you?
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I feel really blessed about the staff. I brought 3 guys over from St. Joe's with me, a fellow by the name of Josh Carter, Kobe Lyles, and a fellow out of Spartanburg, Kevin Caldwell. Have a lot of experience. And then I got a fellow by the name of John Leday coming out of Texas, going to be our defensive coordinator, so a little bit newer on the scene and so forth, but a lot of experience. Really excited about him. Before I got the job, Southside strength and conditioning coach had moved over from Southside to Travelers Rest, Mason Dadian. He'll be on our D line, and that has been a blessing to have, because he came in before me, and it's your strength coach. That's a big deal. And it's been good to have him. We got a couple of other guys. Luke Owenby, he's going to be our quarterbacks coach. He's a teacher there. Was going to be on the staff this upcoming season, so we're able to retain him, but it's technically still his first year. A fellow by the name of Chip Langford. He's been on staff. He was on the staff before, so a seasoned guy that's been around for a little while. And a couple other guys, Levi Lawrence, a new guy on the scene, going to be our running backs coach coming in. But some familiarity with you guys. Donnie Frost, I was able to pull Donnie Frost out of retirement. Definitely has an itch and passion for the game, and needs to be around it and want him around it. It's huge having him come around. So we've kind of put together a unique group that is new to each other, but for what we're trying to accomplish, really is fitting for each other.
Coach, I know the Devildog fans that are listening are pretty eager about the product that's going to be on the field. What kind of schemes offensively and defensively do you plan to implement for this team?
It's a work in progress, because when you have what you think you're going to do, you have what they've done, and then you have a very short time. So it's got to be somewhere in the middle. Coming from St. Joe's, everybody's assuming it's going to be 3-back and triple option on the offensive side. There's got to be a touch to that. I mean, that's what I do. I'm coming from Jimmy Satterfield in high school. I've always been around the triple in some capacity. Defensively, it could be a mixture of things. We'd like to be in a 4-3. It could be a 3-4 hybrid type look. But when I say that we're still working on those things, we literally are, because of the time frame. We got maybe a half of a spring. So where most teams are probably a little bit more set here, we're still trying to fill out if this is what we're going to do for sure.
Coach, you've been around, some legends. You mentioned Coach Satterfield. You mentioned the guy in Oregon who you got to learn a lot from. But who are some other guys maybe that you've really kind of molded your style after and picked things from? And then is there anybody, in the current game, maybe at high school or even college or pro, that you like to kind of, pick up things from week in, week out?
I'm a history teacher by trade. And so a lot of my stuff is guys that have come from the past. I can tell you how I got into it. One of my best friends that we went into the Marine Corps together after high school, his dad was in the highway patrol. You know how you got those highway patrolmen that are with the head coaches on the games, going back and forth with them. He did that for the Gamecock coaches in the 90s and so forth, Sparky Woods and then Brad Scott. And so when he got older, his dad would let him bring a friend with him to the game and be on the sideline. Well, I got the pleasure of being on the sideline when Lou Holtz and the Gamecocks beat Mississippi State when Eric Kimry threw the fade. And that place went crazy when we scored that touchdown. Everybody was going nuts except for one person, and it was Lou Holtz. And he was completely under control. He walked right by us. I remember just like he was just taking a walk down the sidewalk. And I always remembered that. And it always had such a huge impact on me. And then to think that Kimry's move to Carolina has such a huge impact on me becoming a head coach again at St. Joe's. That's crazy stuff, you know. So I like to keep up with those guys, just from the backside, even with like Twitter and social media and keeping up with them. But those are big ones for me, you know. And I don't know if y'all seen Lou's gotten back on social media doing some stuff. So it's kind of cool that, you know, that this is 20 plus years now. So.
Coach, you know, you mentioned you're about 2-3 months on the job. So, but you've been able to, you know, to spend some time with your team over this off season. Who are some special players that you've identified that you hope to kind of break out for you and kind of carry this team in the 24 season?
Man, which class? Because there's kids in each one. It's tough with the seniors. You know, you think about you just said about coming in late. This is such a short period of time with them. They got some good kids, good high character kids. We had kids leave weights yesterday because they were going to go watch another one of their teammates get an award and stuff. And so real unique group. Got some speed in there. They've got a young man named Jai Wiggins, who's multi-sport athlete. Can do a lot of things on football, basketball. Eli Cofield, to name a couple other guys that we're trying to look at from a skill standpoint. Then get down to the juniors. Some name that's people ask me about is Luke Tankersley. He's our middle linebacker. He's been pretty special. Before I got there, he looked special. Works really hard. Probably one that's a little bit more under the radar is Xavier Hagerman. And really good-looking kid. It looks like he's shaping up into being a leader. And then the sophomore class is probably the biggest one. But I always say this, and I try to warn people of this. The sophomore class is always the hardest one because who plays up and who stays down, but we're all still in class together and we're all still friends. And how do you work on that dynamic and so forth? So that's a unique class. But some of those names that I named who were looking to take a leadership role, you know, and kind of guide us. Our offensive line plays a major role, but that's a collective group. And the sharper they are, the stronger we are too.
Coach, Travelers Rest is the program that, you know, has not had a ton of success lately, I would say. What was maybe the first thing or main thing you felt you needed to change once you kind of took over as the head coach there, and one thing that you wanted to really instill right away?
Well, it's got a very unique mascot, and it's nothing like anything else anywhere else in the nation. And only a few people can really understand it. You either played for it and the coach made you understand what it was, or you are a Devildog. And the program's founded by Chico Bolin, a World War II veteran, around 1949. So you think about how long the program is, maybe not a lot of success, but a real long tradition. And he asked the principal if he could use the Devildog, the Marine Corps nickname, as the mascot, and it went from there. That mascot comes with a certain mentality, a certain spirit to it. And when I took the job and meeting the kids and so forth, what I would say is that spirit's broken. And it's my job to fix that spirit, make them understand what it means to be a Devildog, and how important it is, and how important it is to people in the past. And so I'm trying my best to connect that. And then what's the best way of connecting it? Winning. And so that's the goal, obviously. But there's a long tradition here of where it could be something, and it was built off of somebody with a lot of passion and so forth. And it's never died. It's always there. It just needs to be consistent, and consistency, you know, someone stand for a little while that wants to be a part of the community and watch it grow.
Coach, I got to agree with you. Yeah, the Devildog pride is certainly something that's very special. I'm a TR alum, so I completely understand what you're talking about. I contributed to the lack of success that Kevin was talking about as a former player there, but that's beside the point. I want to talk to you about the community, though. That's a community that is definitely, yearning for a winner. They're very tight knit because it's in Northern Greenville County, kind of away from everybody else. What kind of connections have you been able to create over the past couple of months with that community to kind of rally support and get that, winning tradition going?
Well, so with it being the summertime, it's a little bit harder. So the best thing that I could do is just to go out to places, lunch and visit different places. And one of my favorite things to see, and I'll give him a shout out. I haven't even met him yet, State Farm agent Steve Borkland, but I go around to these restaurants and they have our schedule on the counter, for people to grab, and you have that small town feel to it. And I want to be able to give back to it. So I've been trying to get out and meet people and see who the TR people are. There's a lot of new people, it seems, that are coming in. There's two different vibes to it. There's people from there, and then there's people coming in there, type thing. But then to be honest with you, Jared, the community's pretty stoked right now, pretty excited. And so I had a lot of people come to me. I've even spoke with Coach Stanford, who was the coach in the late 70s and early 80s. The last time they won a region championship, he came by and visited. It was an incredible conversation. So I've been every little piece that I can and trying to just hear people talk and meet people along the way, and then trying to remember them, going out to places, and the students are the waiter or the waitress. And you got all this stuff on there, like, are you at TR? And then they find out that you're the football coach and stuff like that. And then there's little connections. And so my boys, I've got a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, and then a little girl that's about to turn 2. And so they're getting involved in the youth sports there, which is kind of big. They've got the Travelers Rest Youth Association, which is cheerleading and football and wrestling. Wrestling's huge in TR. And my little one's already signed up for it. So respectfully using my family to put roots within the community and so forth. Like I said, my wife's going to be a teacher at Gateway Elementary, 5th grade teacher. So, that's when we'll really be able to put our hands on the community.
So, Coach, with you getting kind of that late start, were you able to get you guys into many 7-on-7 things, or are you a fan of that? Are you more of an 11-on-11 guy? And, what were you able to learn about your program throughout this summer and just, even some workouts so far?
This summer, and this is the term I used, we wanted to work in the dark. A lot of people asking what we're doing, wondering who we are. And I thought that was probably one of the best advantages that we could have, is just not being very public. We had Landrum come by, and then we had Carolina come by for 7-on-7s. Just they were already scheduled, and just wanted to hold to them. But then I had TL Hannah. Coach Tone reached out at TL Hannah for 11-on-11. As a coach, it was the first time I've ever experienced it, and people have been asking about it. And I would just say this: if what you do on the line of scrimmage is more important than what's going on the outside of your offense, then you need to be doing 11-on-11s in the summer, not 7-on-7s. And so I hope the popularity picks up. It's something I hope to do again next year, but to be able to talk through your team, through your line in the summertime against somebody else's team, and then record it, is huge. It's absolutely huge. And so the 7-on-7 scene is probably not going to be our thing, maybe because we can go to a camp or something, go to a college. I think the 7-on-7 seems more interesting, not to compete just locally, but to go to a camp and let your kids be seen by a college or something. That 7-on-7 piece is intriguing, but just to go do it, let's take our line. Let's put our quarterback under a little bit of pressure. T.O. Hannah's really good, and they've been doing it a long time, but they stay off the quarterback, but they can still be aggressive and give you a good look. I can see it being difficult if your team maybe lacks discipline. But it is a way to gain discipline with your team before you put on helmets and shoulder pads. So you can look at it both ways.
Coach, you mentioned that influx of people heading to the TR area. It's reflected in them making the jump to 4A. They've kind of been straddling that line the last few reclasses, but you're making a big jump as well, going up to coaching 4A. What are some of the challenges that you've kind of faced, knowing that you're going to go, into the 4A classification with this program?
Patience. I'm trying to be a little bit more conservative in thought and when I put things into my program. And what I mean by that is one of the biggest fears or things that you need to focus on, I think, at this level is that it's 4A or 5A or 3A week in and week out. It's another one next week. It's another one next week. One of the things that being at St. Joe's is, you had the Christ Church, Southside Christian, and so forth. But then we had some games where you could breathe for a couple of weeks, and re-put your team together and so forth. That's going to be a little bit difficult in 4A when in a month you're playing Greer, Daniel, and Pendleton all on the road type stuff, so that's going to be new. But enticing. And so it's being patient. So I've got to gain experience with it too, just as much as building the boys into winners at the same time. So it's one of the challenges. And so I decided to attack it, just trying to be a little bit more patient than just trying to make everything happen like I have in the past.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
Coach, got a couple easier ones here for you before I let you go this morning. Maybe it's in your office on a home game on a Friday night or maybe on the bus ride to an away game. But what's on that pregame playlist as you get ready to hit the field?
Man, that is, that's changed over the years. When I was at Chandler Prep, I took over an 0-10 program, and they had scored 54 points the entire season. And at halftime of our first game, we had scored 56. And so it was trying to set the mentality. And so back then it was throw it up. But you go through St. Joe's and stuff, and it slows down a little bit. But let me just tell you, the pregame is a big deal to me. And what you're asking me is I actually spend that with my team. And so it changes every Friday night, and it's something I share with the team before we go out. So usually it's pretty modern, whatever, the boys like, got to get them going. But the pregame's a big deal, and it changes every Friday.
Coach, Kevin and I are big foodies. This is a question we have for every guest that joins our program. So we got to ask you, you've been there long enough. You said you've been to some restaurants in that TR area. If me and Kevin are going to a game at Chico Bowling Stadium, where should we grab a bite to eat?
Oh, man, you're going to put me, those people are all kind of TR people, right? So
trust me, I know.
Yeah. Yes. But I'll play it safe because this is fair, and it's it's the first place I ever went to, and it's how I got connected to TR. It's the first place I ever went to when I moved to Greenville, when I came from Arizona. And then their son, I got a chance to coach him at St. Joe's, but short fields,
okay.
The Satterfields own it and so forth, and connected to St. Joe's. That's been good. But the other one is was that Chikora
Alley?
Yeah, that place is that's a good place too. And Little Pigs takes care of us too. So
love that.
Yeah.
Well, last one here for you, Coach. I know it's still, you got a little bit before we get into the season, but do you guys have any goals set for this 2024 campaign for the Devildogs?
We go to camp next Friday, and we lock them in and so forth, and that's our goal set. And but as far as out loud and what the focus has been is flipping where they are to a new side, which is winning. And so we have used that word throughout the entire summer. Our goal is to have a winning record. That's the starting point of this new run, is winning. And that's what I've done. That's what I've done in the past. And that TR's shown that in the past. And I want to connect that again.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go check out Coach Goodman, the Devildog program, on social media. They do a great job on Twitter and Facebook posting updates on the kids and the programs. So definitely follow them on there. Like I mentioned, follow us on Facebook and Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, movinchains.com, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Moving the Change brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Jarrell, anything else for Coach? We'll let him go this morning.
Coach Goodman, just so excited for your opportunity there at TR. I know that community and that program is yearning for a winner. They're going to support you regardless, but just with your proven track record of success, we know that you're going to be able to achieve it there. I know I'm a member of the media. I root for all the programs in the state of South Carolina, except maybe Berea. But I will certainly be following along with your progress there. Wish you guys continued success. Stay healthy as you go into fall camp, and I hope you guys have a great first year.
Thank you. Come by and see us.
We'll do it, Coach. Really appreciate your time. Look forward to stopping by practice or a game, getting to meet you in person, and best of luck, all right?
All right. Thank you. Fellas, have a good day.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter /X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.